Today I talked with my friend Surok. Our internet connection lagged out, so we didn't get maybe an entire conversation, but we got a good 20, 30 minutes. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. How's it going, dude?
Going pretty good.
Good. Yeah, I'm recording right now, so if there's anything you want out, you can just like let me know later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to change my name.
How's the I don't know why I've been so, I guess I'm going around looking for like uh dating advice right now.
Okay.
So I don't
I
know.
don't know if I can help, but I can throw in my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, the Hawaiian shirt is a like that seems like if I was gonna ask someone about dating, I'd definitely ask someone in a Hawaiian shirt first and foremost. Like as many people as you can find in Hawaiian shirts, you ask about uh, dating, no doubt.
Yeah, I collect Hawaiian shirts on every like vacation trip I take.
Mm,
So that's how I collect them.
patterns. That's yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you have any like your 2 cents basically on dating if you have any.
Well, I mean, do you have like a question? Because
Well, I
it's
don't know
kind
if
of
there's any. Yeah, are there any like axioms that you used? I guess, or like looking for someone to like share your life uh, with. Like, if there's any like guiding like principles. I guess.
well, I guess, you know, I've listened to some of the like manosphere people, and just to get their perspective, um, and just to hear what's going on, because I'm kind of interested in all these different areas of the internet, and that's just one of them. And one thing that seems to keep coming up often is they have like a kind of transactional way of looking at things, like they use the word sexual marketplace, uh, terminology, and they really focus on the looks of women as like the primary value. And I think that's the worst way you can go about it, in my opinion, is that you put that at the top of the value hierarchy. It
Okay.
seems like that's what they're doing.
Do you think there's any sense in like thinking like, oh, the internal is reflected in like the external? So if like somebody, I think it can be a good thing if somebody like catches your eye. Like I think like there's obviously um like limits, but I actually do use that as like a if somebody like uh sticks out, and I don't know if that's entirely like how much of that's physical, but I just use that as like a barometer to go like talk to
Yeah,
someone. But
I think if you look at that as like the top thing, I'm not saying it's not important, because you do want somebody who is somewhat attractive, because that signals other things like health, um, kind of being able to be self-reflective and self-aware of their appearance, and so yeah, you don't want somebody who doesn't value that at all and puts that at the bottom, but you also don't want to put that at the top. It's a little further down the list, in my opinion. And so, and also, like, you got to understand, like, if somebody is really really attractive, you got to look at that person and say, well, what are they doing to be that attractive? Like, how much of their time and money and energy are they investing in trying to look attractive?
Right, right,
And,
right, right, right.
you know,
I
and
personally probably spend like a little bit too much time trying to be attractive. I think my uh like my nature, or like, yeah, there's part of like human nature that's like the the aesthetic, or like, yeah, how you look can become like um a priority past what's like
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, if somebody spends all their day and trying to look attractive, and they're just kind of obsessed with that fact, do they even have time for you? Do they have time for you in their family?
Right,
um
right, right.
what
You
if
run
that's the
into the
number one
narcissist.
priority? Yeah, so I would say, look for someone who's attractive, but make sure that person isn't obsessed about it, because then they're out of balance, in my opinion, if they're like that. And for me, like, you know I was attracted to my wife, and like, I wanted someone who I could grow old with, because I was raised by my grandmother, and so I knew how people kind of decayed, and you spend most of your life, if you like live up to to be 90 years old, you're going to be not young most of your life, and so you want to be
Yeah,
with someone who you can be with for that long, because we're not all, if you enter the dating pool from 20 to 40, right? If you're lucky, you can keep it up until you're 60. But those are rare people.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah, yeah. I've tried to like see myself, like, I'm hoping that I'll be one of those one of those guys who like 60-year-olds who are like wearing like tights, like riding their bike down, like riding their bikes around. But yeah, you never know. You never know. So it's, yeah, yeah. It's good to like balance different areas of, yeah, just balance different areas. And I think that goes like,
Well, it's
like
just
if you're in shape or not.
what sort of things is the person spending their time on?
Right.
And as you get to know someone, you get to figure that out, and then you can figure out their values based on that. Um,
Yes.
so you want to find someone who you think they have the right priorities in their life. So, and you know, being healthy is a good priority. If you make that into an idol, I don't think that's a good thing. Some people do, they obsess about being healthy, you know, and I don't think I could be with somebody who is just, uh, you know, kind of like OCD about it.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I'm trying to, yeah, is balance, I think, is a good like
So I'd say
I guess. Yeah, yeah.
balance and the right priorities. in
Yeah.
the correct order.
Okay. 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 Um, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So as far as like, I want to know like your thoughts on Magick have changed, or like how they've been, basically your views, or how they've uh yeah, if they changed or anything.
Well, I've been thinking about it because we're going to talk about this on this conversation, and I think that magic, or I would say spiritual training, might be a better way to put it in more Christian terms.
Okay.
Um,
So is
has
that
been
looking at like spiritual training? Is that like, so generally
well,
like,
actually, let me define that a little bit better. Spiritual technology, okay, is what magic is. So
right?
I think that sort of aspect has kind of fallen away from contemporary Christian practice. And I think a lot of people who, like, there's a lot of Protestants who kind of grew up and then they see like Orthodoxy or Catholicism, and those kind of those traditions tend to have a little bit, quote unquote, magic or spiritual technology built into their practices. Whereas, like, I think to be a good Protestant, it just means to like being able to quote Bible verses in the right situation. Um, and what I mean by like spiritual technology, like, well, for one, the liturgy, uh, prayer, not so much prayer, but like the kind of meditative and contemplative prayer that Catholicism and Orthodoxy have. Uh, like the Rosary is more of like a mantra compared to, say, these, just
Yeah.
most of like a lot of the Protestant prayer types that I've seen. Like Protestant prayer tends to be kind of like a dialogue with God, or it's like, God, give me this, help us with this, pray, guide this person, blah blah.
Right, right, right. It has more to do with like your whim in some circles.
Yeah. um, I mean, let's not beat up on them too much, but I'm just saying, like, it's there's a qualitative difference. There's different degrees, and I'm sure there's some people who are more contemplative than others. But uh, I'll just take the Rosary. It's you're saying the same prayer over and over again.
Right,
Uh,
right, right, right. And then there's the like material component.
yeah, and what magic does is it's supposed to change your consciousness. Your A lot of the magic training books that are out there, they're all about um, cultivating your imagination, your focus, um, your attention,
Mm.
and being able to use that um, effectively. And so, um, uh, you know, just pretty much every magic book starts with meditation, learning how to calm your mind, uh, get getting getting control of your mind, and then like a lot of visualization. So they'll tell you like, okay, visualize a triangle. Now rotate it in your mind,
Right.
and then change its color and stuff like that. And like,
That's
you
something I
do these kind of meditative practice, like the more you're able to control your mind, the more you're able to control your thoughts and where they go, because your thoughts control your attention, and your attention basically focuses on different potentials of reality. And so if you're able to imagine new potentials of reality, then you're able to focus on them and then go down that track and make it
Yeah,
happen.
that's something I noticed when we first were like started discussing Magick. Like I noticed it did, like in the discussion, my imagination, it was like it felt sort of like this broadening, and it was almost a ritual unto itself, like it was an odd but like positive it was a positive thing. And I think like that's something that like caught my attention, is that like um like the imaginative component seemed really there was something healthy about it.
Okay.
Is what like kind of like I I noticed, and I don't know if that's um, like why that was like experienced. But yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what kind of imaginative practice were you doing?
Well, it was almost like a like the use of your imagination. It like almost like structured things more, uh it was like cementing. It might have had something to do with like cementing what it seemed like was in the like this imaginative practice. Like I was cementing, the best way I can put it right now, and it might be like nuts, but it was like I was cementing my authentic being by the contemplative like imaginative thing. And I don't know if that's like like what that points to, like whether or not my identity was just or is too uh I don't know, like shifty, but my like I felt that it helped with just like yeah, one, like expanding my my imagination, and then like my imaginative like capacity, and then also like somehow also like cementing my being is the best. That's yeah, yeah, it's the
Okay.
best I can describe.
Well, so I do the rosary, and like I
Okay.
think some people see it as like well, you should do it because God likes it, and you know that's something that God wants you to do, and so it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll do it because that's the good thing to do. Um, Whereas, like, if you come in with a magical perspective, it's you. Well, here's another analogy. The the occult and like books on magic, they're like they teach you how to cook. So if you go to a restaurant or you go to someone's house and their grandma's cooking dinner, and grandma's, you sit down and eat, and you guys eat the dinner, um, with how contemporary Christianity is at the moment. It's like nobody knows what's being eaten, but everybody enjoys the meal and thinks the food is delicious. And then you ask the grandma, it's like, well, what'd you cook? And it's like, I cooked you a meal. Didn't you like it? Yeah, we loved it. what are the ingredients? Love. Okay, there's no doubt that she cooked it with love, um, but you don't know how to reproduce it, and you don't know what's the like uh, the technique, the spiritual technique, technology about it. So like, you can go great, um, but then there's another reason. It's like, well, what's going on in your mind that in terms of like what kind of psychological state are you producing? What sort of you know mind space are you getting into? And what's really going on, the recipe, like the cooking chemical reactions, what's going on. So I think in that respect, I think that at least reading some books on magic and kind of helps with that understanding, because anybody who uh, is in the occult, they'll look at things like the rosary and the liturgy and stuff like that as just like any other ritual, like any other mantra that many other religions do. So they don't think Christianity is somehow exceptional in that regard. And the sad thing is that because I think, I don't know, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but maybe because Christianity saw those things as like similar to other religions, maybe they gave it up. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I think there's kind of an appetite for that right now. I think people want to kind of re-enchant things, and I think that just because you can command it on demand, like, okay, well, I'm going to pray the rosary and it's going to put me in a particular mind space, that somehow that's inauthentic, and I just don't agree with that perspective.
So you don't agree with just doing, I guess is it like you don't agree with just doing the rosary and having uh the effects without like an understanding of how.
Well, I mean, you can do it and it will produce the effects
Right.
that that are good, and people do so, I would say, blindly. They do it because it's a good thing, and so they do it and they reap the benefits. But um if you want to say, you know learn how to cook better, then you need to take a cooking class. You need to understand the cooking process, and not just kind of wing it all the time, you know,
Yeah, how
or
much do
just
you think?
cook grandma's recipe all the time.
Okay, and how much do you think, like, like the catechumenal process is that, or what do you think, like, it's do you think it's missing uh anything?
In terms of like understanding the psychological mind space effects about like a Christian prayer practice, yeah, I don't think there's anything that even remotely addresses that.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so you're
And
thinking like it can lead to like if there's a deeper understanding of these things, like that the magical tradition might have something to say in that regard?
Well, I think that, I can now look at certain practices within the say, oh, that's what's going on here. And uh, like going back to the rosary, like I understand what's going on when I pray the rosary, and I actually can kind of pay attention a little bit more because like certain insights come into my mind as I do it, and because like um, I forget, there's like a particular one that I pray. There's different kinds, but
Okay.
then there's ones that want you to meditate on different mysteries. So they'll say like they have like a little thing like the ascension um, part, or like when Jesus is in the temple the first time, and the glorious mysteries, the luminous mysteries, so forth, and there's 5 for each one. And so when you recite that, and then you go into the Hail Marys, and then your mind starts to like in a kind of subconscious way reflect on the mysteries, and different insights will come to me about that, or and that's another thing, like that, like it's a theurgic magical operation, meaning that it's um, not. So there's like 2 kinds of magic. There's thaumaturgy and theurgy. So thaumaturgy would be um, making a spell to win the lottery. Theurgic operations are for transformation of your consciousness into a higher state, to become one with God or the divine. And so that's what the rosary is doing. It's changing my mind state to at least take a certain portion of my day and like reflect on that,
Right.
and kind of like align myself with the divine, and matters that are not just about me and my everyday uh
Right.
mundane stuff that I have worry about.
That there's something bigger, right?
Yeah, transcendent.
Man, man, man. Yeah. Yeah. So is there okay, can you, I mean you can, but like praying the rosary, is that okay, so is the rosary is can you remind me what the rosary prayer like is?
um so when I pray, you start off with the Apostles' Creed, um then Our Father, then a Hail Mary, and then you do a Glory Be, I think, somewhere in between. I actually have an app, and
Okay.
I'm not actually not that good at remembering it. So like I use the app to. There's a guy who recites it, and there's people who do the. He does the call. He does, and the people do the um, what is it, call? What's it called? Say and call or something. That it's like saying the priest says something and then people respond. Call and response. That's it. Um, and then you do like 5 Hail Marys, and then you do an All Father. Then you do the mystery, and then I think whoever's doing it actually it's like which mystery, and they pick, because they would pick different at my church, in my last church, than this guy does in on the app. Um, but it's got the same structure, and then you do that 5 times, and then you do another glory be, and then there's another much longer prayer, and then there's our Father, and then I think the Saint Michael prayer. So
Man, man, man. That's
takes about 30 minutes to do.
okay. 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 That's awesome. That's awesome. That definitely like edifying, man. Like that sort of thing takes some like probably takes a little bit of like discipline on at certain like uh times, and I could definitely see how you could do it like imperfectly, I guess. But
I'd rather do it imperfectly than not at all.
yeah,
So I don't beat myself up over that, you know. And sometimes I make coffee while I'm doing it. So ideally, I would. When I first started doing it, I was before the off, and then go to the church. But I can't do that anymore. I might pick it up again once I can drop off my daughter at school.
okay, okay. I miss. So you said you want to do it like when or how? It
Well, preferably at church with other people, I think is the best. Um, well, at least that I enjoyed it doing that way the most. Also, kind of, if you're sitting in the church pew, you're there. You don't have any other distractions, and you're also like, um, your mind's more focused because you're the environment and the things that you see kind of put you in that headspace a little bit better.
right, 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 right. That's awesome. So that's probably what icons uh do, right? Personal icons.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's one thing that a lot of people seem to get wrong about magic, and like say if they like enchant uh, an item, they think that the items, like the magic's within the item. But actually, the item's just a facilitator of your focus, of your conscious attention. So
Right, right.
if you like say using a wand to perform some magic or whatever, um you know they'll say you don't need the wand, but the wand helps you focus. So that kind of gives power to the wand, even though the power is not really within the wand, it's within your mind. But having that physical object in your hand helps you focus. It's like a pair of glasses or something. It's like the glasses don't see for you, but they sure help you see better.
Sure, sure, sure. And that makes me think about what there is in like the like how much, yeah, no, that it makes sense that most most of it is going on in your mind. Yeah, yeah. And I I believe that. I believe that. It just, yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes, I remember there was one thing that I remember like Peterson mentioning, like, um, oh, if your father's, a deck
I
of,
gotta move my
oh, okay.
computer around because my family keeps running back and forth.
Right on, right on. Yeah,
You
yeah,
were saying Peterson was
yeah, yeah.
saying,
He just, I remember he was like, you know, the mountain, or let's say like your dad's pack of like baseball cards or something like that. Like, is there, I guess, like, there's a connection there with the object. But yeah, yeah, I guess I do believe that it is like uh psychological, but it's like, I don't know if you would call, like, say the object has a a power, or what the that experience of, like, experiencing holding a certain object is, I guess. Okay, doke. Hello, Surok.
hey,
Hey, yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened, but we're yeah, back online, back online.
all right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was you just been like browsing, or what you do in the interim?
Oh, I was just talking to my wife.
Oh, okay, cool, cool, cool.
She wanted to know what we were talking about.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Do you guys find? I was just wondering, like, how long do you guys feel like you spend on like logistics, like just, yeah, yeah,
What kind of logistics? Like,
I guess, like, dividing, like, I don't know, household, like, chores, or like just, I guess, like the work element, or putting in the, like, the hours, I guess,
um,
keeping things afloat.
so, and a lot of it, who did what? Um,
Right, 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 right. Yeah, I can imagine.
and and I think, and so, people know have kind of constant negotiation about those sort of things.
Yeah.
I think that there's a particular problem with our modern conception about the division of labor in the household. And I think a lot of men, I don't know, especially if both parents work, and then the mom and 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 the and the wife. Usually, I see that, and I help her, you know, leverage her career because I know if she has to, so
Right.
that's how we've kind of negotiated things, you know.
Okay. 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 And how much have you found, like I've been thinking about, like, how much the material component, like, you know, uh just like bringing home the the bacon, regardless of which like who's doing the bringing home of the the bacon, like how important that is, I guess, to, like, to a marriage. It's like, well, okay, so I think it's probably especially important with kids, because they have maybe a greater initial need for, like, support from like, you got to feed your your kids, but it's like, I don't know, I feel like that's come with, like, the domestic, like, just modern, like, just being domesticated, I guess, or being domestic. Like, I don't know, like, I've just been, like, wondering how much of an emphasis, how much room in my mind I should spend towards, becoming uh materially, like, successful. And I guess it's like what the comfort level should be at that level. But
Well, I mean, I know for the first 10 years of our marriage, we didn't have any children. So we were both working.
mm,
And so what we did was basically we both worked,
yeah,
and then we split the house responsibilities evenly. Um, and that worked pretty well for many years for us. Um, and then and then when we had our daughter, it became clear that my wife was doing much better in her career than I was. And we're also spending a lot of money on like uh, we had a nanny, and that cost some money. Um,
yeah,
and then I was working at the same time, and um, and then we kind of decided to put my wife's career first before mine. So like if there was like a particular you know instance where something had to give, right? So it's your value hierarchy. We valued her career more than mine because she was able to leverage hers better than I could, and she was further along in her career at the time. So we decided, if there's going to be a decision made about who's going to come home because the daughter has to go to the doctor because she kind of came up with a boo-boo on her head, it was going to be me, not her.
mm,
um, Eventually that became too much of a burden for me to continue in my career, and then um, also just I wanted to be with my daughter, so and be more part of her life. So we made the decision, and then that kind of changed the balance of things significantly. But I think overall, our family's less stressed out,
mm,
and so I think we may not be making as much money if I was working, but our quality of life has definitely increased.
yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. And you've like you've liked the arrangement basically. Like that's been
Yeah, I mean it took some getting used to.
right, right.
The first year of it, when becoming a stay-at-home dad, um, you kind of have a existential crisis
Mm,
of like, well, what am I doing? Who am I?
right.
There's also like certain particular aspects of it that are kind of unique, and because like setting up play dates with your kid, usually that's like mother to mother kind of thing, and
Mm.
um, I can't do that
Like,
for a number of reasons. Like for one thing, it's not a good idea for me to like hang out with other mothers during the day.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's no, I'm not going to do that. They don't want to do that. Their husbands don't want that to happen. So, and I don't want to do it
Right.
because I, so in a
But
way,
I could
it's,
see it being, like once just like being able to sit out and have have tea and just like observe how the ladies get like do their
yeah.
so,
I mean, and also like, I'm not that kind of guy.
mm,
So
mm,
I'm not very social in that way,
gotcha.
in that kind of traditional, stereotypical, um, stay at home mom kind of way. I'm
Mm,
just not do. I mean, I'm not. That's not me.
yeah.
Um, like talking to them is like talking in a different language. and on a different frequency.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, okay. So I mean, do you? I don't know why I feel like asking. Do you collect like anything? Like for some reason you like seem like a collector. I don't know if you like.
Collector?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I don't. I'm not much of a collector, actually.
Okay, 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 okay. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I mean, if all this decoration back here, that's all my wife. This is the office. She's the decorator.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. So do okay. So does do you think she has like an aesthetic sense? Like you've kind of like delegated that to her,
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
beautification.
Uh, I, I have no skill in terms of like decoration and kind of visualizing a particular space that I want. Like I'm very utilitarian in terms of decoration. Like if it doesn't serve a purpose other than it's not part of my environment. So I don't put up things uh, on my own, and I don't buy uh, things to hang on walls or that. So like all the decoration in the house that's my wife's doing.
Okay. 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 And would you call yourself like utilitarian as far as like your kind of like philosophy or your take on things?
I mean, I guess I could make that sort of argument, but it's probably just laziness and ineptitude on my part.
Yes, the reason you learn philosophy is grand excuses,
Yeah.
right? Right. That's I remember a philosophy. I was taking like an ethics course, and he's like, "Yeah, I learned all this so I could do like all sorts of bad things and like have ration like I could do whatever I want and have the rationale like depending on what I wanted." Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
Yeah. For me, sometimes I'll have like an idea in my head about like decorating something, and then I just can't go beyond the first step.
Mm, like the realizing of the thought or the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
don't know. I'm not a person who pays attention to their physical surroundings too much. Like so, and having I don't know. It's like a blind spot in my head when it comes
Mm,
like I can appreciate good aesthetics. I can't create good aesthetics.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I found like as far as like developing, I guess like just starting with like you know clean your room, or I think if you do, even if you take on like a utilitarian attitude, like if you try and make a place like I think you can combine beauty with like utilitarian like ideas. Like if you make a room like maximally uh useful, I guess. I think they're
Well, that's how I treat my kitchen.
okay.
So I'm the boss of the kitchen. So and
Mm, yes.
I put everything where I want it, and I keep it very clean every day. I don't
Okay.
leave anything out. So
Okay.
uh, uh, in that respect, but I don't decorate it. I don't I don't put like little things on the walls or anything like that.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
and as far as like decoration, maybe the best thing to do is paint.
Mm, mm. Okay. 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 Yeah, I'll have to show you this video. I thought it was really interesting, and it was talking about how to become uh, more like it was like how to become uh, manly. And I think like the like well like the whole like because I think to an extent it is good to like get a little bit in touch with like your uh, feminine uh, eh, like the anima. I don't know if you're familiar with like Carl Jung or Jungian. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And he was like, it's. I don't know if you know who Uber Boyo is.
No. Who's
Okay,
that?
okay. He's basically like a Jungian. He's a YouTuber basically, and he does like he's all into like self self improvement. And one thing he talked about was just like getting in touch with that aesthetic sense was like just like of course like there's things that a man's responsibility is important, and then like the ability I think it's like the integration of just the anima, um and like in order to become like better, I guess a better version of
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'll show you that.
Well, I guess like the Peugeot way that he might, if I would put words in his mouth, he's always talking about the feminine as being about the space of things,
Right.
and creating a possibility
Or the frame,
for
right?
something to,
The
yeah, the
house.
frame.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like that's why maybe a lot of women are interested in creating kind of like a homey space.
Mm. Yeah. Like nesting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Trying to get it. Uh, yeah. Decent. At least getting the surroundings. You know. Um, Tidy. I don't know.
but
I don't
see
know. Uh, well, just
the
connecting with like women looking for like ripe fruit as like the gatherers in the like um, hunter gatherer uh, like that that job. Like I'm wondering like how much that's like that circuit. Like I wonder if that circuit is sort of used also when beautifying a house or being able to like things that are
yeah.
eye catching. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, my wife and I, because of our home arrangement, we atypical gender roles for, so I'm stay at home parent. She's the one that is out, uh, you know, working and, making a career and all that. But
Mm.
I think the problem is that a lot of people assume, or I don't know, they kind of lump everything together. And so, like, I'm 6'1", 230 pounds, and
Right.
bald and hairy. Like, there's nothing feminine about me. Um, but uh, but one thing that
So
I guess I am more feminine than my wife is that I'm actually more agreeable in terms of the big five.
mm-hmm.
My wife's a lot more disagreeable than I am,
Very
and
cool.
that's part of the reason why she, I think, does better in her career than I was able to do.
Very cool.
I think Jordan Peterson said that, if you want to a workforce to exploit the most, you get conscientious, agreeable people to work for you, and usually
Mm-hmm.
those are women. Um, and that's kind of where I found myself in my career path when I was, you know, doing my stuff in the science industry. So, but when it came to my wife, she was more disagreeable and was more demanding, and um, in that respect. And so, in that way, she's very masculine in that way. But I don't, I don't think she's less of a woman because of it.
Right.
I think there's and I don't feel like she has to dress like a man. I don't have to dress like a woman to. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, totally, totally, totally. And I think there is like a feminine aspect to like just playing with being able to play with ideas like in a sort of like in a play with ideas in a playful sort of like way. So I think that's one area where you might say like that the feminine, you know, like could come through with you know men uh, in general, or men who are t- masculine, right? You still have an ability to like. I guess there's that lighter quality, I guess, or that
Yeah.
more that more airy. Uh,
Well, I think what's happened is that people think about the gender roles and then they think that they have to embody the stereotype completely. And if they don't do it, then there's something wrong with them or they're doing it wrong. Whereas, like, I'm more like, okay, I have my masculine traits and I have my feminine traits. I'm okay with that. Like, I understand those two qualities are in to different degrees in each person, and I don't think I should try to like exercise the feminine out of myself. I think I should. It's something there that I can tap into, um, and be comfortable with, um, but also not make it into something that is the defining characteristic of me. It's just kind of like a part of me that's within me, but it's not all of me.
gotcha, 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 gotcha. Yeah, 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 yeah. And that seems like a healthy like view uh, of it. Yeah, yeah. I'm really interested in like the way the different I don't know, archetypal patterns, like how they play out, and like how you can like get to know different like parts of you. But that's just like a project I've uh, been like trying to do for uh, a while, and I think definitely like different people like different people relate to different parts of like the the self, and at different times like in in the life, like you have like seasons uh
Yeah,
where where you're
agree.
more where you're more one way, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So do you guys do like game night at all, or how old are the kiddos? If you don't mind.
She's 9 years old.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
I actually play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh,
Uh,
right on. Right on. I just made a. I need to get on. Um, I don't know what the website you would uh, use, but yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I play a lot over the internet, and I actually started my own server.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
it's got about 5,000 people on it.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Dude, I'll link that. Uh,
Uh, I rather not, because I don't want the two worlds colliding with each
ah
other.
ah
Um,
yes.
so I'll
Okay.
send you a private link if you want, but I don't want it being advertised.
Yeah.
And it's not a server that I try to monetize. Some people would have if they had something like that large, but um, uh, for me, it's just like a labor of love,
Yeah.
and I just want to have fun. I don't want to make it into a job.
Yeah. 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 How long have you been playing just D&D like in general?
Uh, I first started in 1989.
Oh, okay. Wow. 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 And was that just like a basic, like, you and a buddy like decide to uh like go on an adventure type thing? Do an adventure?
Um, I think we just the us. I think I was 12 years old, and this kid, I was going to his mom's house because she's a math teacher, and she was doing some tutoring for me. And after the tutoring session was over, like the kid was like, "Hey, you want to try this out? You want to play?" And so we made some characters, and nothing really came up of it. And then kind of playing back then was kind of a word of mouth kind of thing. You know a friend down the street who's got the book, who got it from a friend. It was that sort of thing. So there was no internet. Um, so you kind of it was a lot of trial by error learning. You know, so you didn't have something like I know there was the big popular show, was it Critical Role. Um,
Right.
and so you can see people playing D&D in front of you, and you can try to imitate that. Back then, we pretty much figured out everything on our own, made up our own rules. It was only until college that I started actually playing it like how it's supposed to be played, um, in a proper way. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
got away from it for about 10 years, and then I picked it up, uh, I think in 2012 again.
Mm,
Then
mm.
just been playing that.
Okay. Okay. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I haven't played D&D in a while. I started picking it up and then just stopped for like, I guess, like personal reasons. But I really uh enjoyed, like I really do I enjoyed the world building was always just like awesome, right? Like that's one of my favorite things actually is like the world building process, I guess, or that element. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I I used to do that, and then I would kind of get burned out doing it
Mm,
because it just requires a lot of mental effort on your part
right.
to come up with a world, and you got to come up with new adventures for your players, and it just kind of it's all very consuming. Uh, and so I started playing more, uh, what do they call it, Adventures League. Um, and
Okay.
it's a more formal way of playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you can move your characters between dungeon masters, and you run the like published modules and books.
Mm.
And so
Mm.
that kind of takes a lot of the cognitive load quite a bit. So, before I started doing that, I would probably run a game for a year and then just burn out and say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, and quit for maybe 2 years, and then pick it up again when the spirit moved me.
Yeah.
But then when you're using published material, you can just kind of keep going. And so for like the last 3 years, I've just been playing, on a regular basis.
Mm.
And so, I mean, I kind of miss making my own world, but at the same time, like, I just don't got time for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 The time constraint. Because I really like that was my favorite. Probably like the part that I liked the most was like when you saw the world and then you got to like it was almost like nesting detail inside detail, like the whole like I'm gonna make this building and then I can literally create just like this building can be whatever I want it to be, and that I thought was always like uh exciting, I guess. Yeah.
For me, like I've trying to focus more on how the game is played in the art form of being a dungeon master.
Right.
Um, and so it's kind of interesting because it's kind of provided me some insights on free will and that sort of thing. Because we kind of think about, so if you the dungeon master is kind of like God in a way, and he lays out the world for all the players, and then the players kind of react and do things to what's being presented. And and that's their kind of free will to do those sort of things. But then um what the DM chooses to present and frame things for the players can kind of guide them towards certain decisions.
Right. 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 Like pieces of maybe information
Yeah,
or
yeah.
ideas.
Or
Right.
like, you could, like, how you would describe a room um, will make the players, you know, pick up on cues that you're saying. Like, oh, there's a with some handprints on it over in the corner of the room, and the fact that you just pointed that out
Not.
amongst all the different objects in the room, that's
Yeah.
going to get the player's attention, and they're
Right.
going to go investigate over there.
Right. That's like a mini. You're almost like simulating. Uh, okay, maybe you're like simulating an incarnation or uh, the incarnation every time you because you're literally speaking the world what the other person like experiences, like speaking the world into being, I guess. So yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
I never thought of it that way, but yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like here's the element you should pay attention to. So you're sort of like the the voice, or you can be the voice of like conscience, or like here's literally what is going to uh attract you, unless you get somebody who's just like uh a total like who just doesn't want to play like that, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I think the younger players, so like the ones are in their teens to, like, say, early 20s, tend to play in that chaotic manner, and so they enjoy creating the most amount of mayhem and disruption in the game, uh, just to see what will happen, and to get a reaction.
yeah.
Um, and then I think the older players, they want a more structured experience, and they want to have a goal to work towards, and they're more willing to, you know, go along with the DM's hints as to like where they should go.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of the younger players will see the hint and they say, "Oh no, we're gonna take this game in the opposite direction."
Yeah. Yeah. Right. 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 I remember playing, and I usually would like, okay, I have this, I want to complete the quest, but I also liked like it's like DM, what other information, like just testing how uh like how broadly they had like thought the thought it through, like just trying to get more from the from the DM, like making it making it work, I guess. uh yeah, 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 yeah. Like, is there, I look, uh or just as simple as like, oh, what else is uh in the room, or what is that chest look like exactly, or yeah, just yeah, yeah, I guess I would sometimes take the like more uh childlike, like deviation, but it like all to make the game like more like interesting, or have like, everyone leave uh the game like feeling like interested, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and those sort of things can be interesting in the right doses.
Right.
Um, and like, so I like to inject a little bit of chaos in my game, so I don't, I do a lot of random rolls. So because I like to be surprised too, and I don't want to know the how things are going to exactly
Right.
turn out to be. Um,
So would a
so a
random
little
roll
bit,
be like, can you give like, would that be like rolling for, what monster shows up, or?
yeah, it could be something like that. It could be like, who does the monster attack?
Right.
How, what sort of decisions some of the NPCs make? Um, little things like that. Um, but often, if you go too chaotic with the like non sequiturs um, and people just kind of fighting amongst each other, because the common occurrence with the younger players is that they'll try to steal each other's stuff, and then they get in a fight, and then then somebody dies, and then they got to re-roll the characters, and of course this happens after a few times. It's just a repeating pattern, and nothing gets done, and so like uh you know then it becomes non-novel.
Right. Right.
you know you
Oh,
know
yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever get kids like I don't know, like how often do you feel like you have to like come up with a new like rule for like, if you're playing with a kid, I imagine like you have to come up with a new rule like once in a while, because they'll like find a way to like
to, to find a way to break the game.
right, right, or to bend it, right, right.
um I mean, so I play fifth edition,
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's pretty well designed, so
Yeah. Is that one
you
more
don't.
complicated? Like, is that one of the more complicated ones, or
I never played third edition, but I heard third edition's actually the most complicated version
okay,
of D&D.
okay,
Fifth edition is actually less complicated, and it's also designed better from the ground up. Uh, uh, there was to get way too nerdy. There's a thing called bounded accuracy. It takes the math into consideration a little bit more deeply than say the previous editions did, and so it doesn't. So I think fifth edition is one of the more balanced versions of D&D. I mean, I have my problems with it, but in terms of like how it's designed, it's pretty designed pretty well. Um, so you don't encounter too many game breaking things. I mean, sure they're out there. If there is, you just if somebody figures out a infinite loop or something like that, then I'll say, well, okay, you can't do that, or let's talk about that.
right, right.
Do you really want to do
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Um, and also, like, I'll tell them, okay, you want to do that, then I think somebody came up with an idea to like summon a Tarask or something. And uh, I said, okay, well, if you do that, then the campaign's over.
Mm.
Just pack up our stuff and leave. So there's kind of a little bit of a social contract there. It's like, okay, you want to keep playing? Then, you need to learn how to play nice and not do silly stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Learning, uh, man. The youths, the youths. Um, oh man, man. Yeah, yeah. So, how old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay, okay. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
How old are you?
25.
25. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm still getting it. I don't know that there's anything I could say that I like. It's like sometimes you can say you've learned, and then life will like throw you a curveball and make you like you just like keep like the learning process. And I guess at some point it's like just like in the D&D, like it does like, well, here we go with learning more shit. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So 25, I'm trying to figure it. But
I remember when I was 25, and
yeah,
you know, well, I'll say this: when you're 44, 25 won't seem that far away.
mm, mm,
So time seems to like stretch out more, and
okay,
um, and also pass much faster. And so
right,
because like you go back 10 years, you're a very different person than you were, you know, physically and maturity wise. Um, I go back 10 years, you know, I'm pretty much almost the same.
sure,
And so, the rate of change seems to slow down. Um, for like my daughter, a 2 year difference in terms of a friend is a huge gap.
right, right. As far as like mindset,
yeah, and just maturity and stuff like that.
Right.
So probably like your mid 20s moving forward, you're you're going to be this way for quite some time. And I think the different major changes are going to be just developing different life habits and perspectives rather than uh, you know growth in terms of physical capability. Because I think around like your early 20s, your brain stops developing
Right. I
sets.
heard 25.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember being like 21 or 22, and I was like, "Oh, I better take care of my brain right now because that's once I hit 25, that's where I'm at." So I made sure. Probably that day I like took like fish oil pills. I was like, "All right, let's get uh let's get developing this like yeah, because yeah, and I've definitely like tried to instill habits of mine that I might want to like keep, I guess. um oh man, it's disconnecting.
Hmm?
It was the internet was just
Yeah, you kind of froze there for a little bit.
yeah. um but yeah yeah so yeah yeah I think I do like, yeah, I don't know, the way the age age is interesting. And have you ever heard of what's the name of the guy who's into like uh stages of development? I forgot. I think it was Eric Erickson.
Oh, there's quite a few of those. Was it Piaget?
Hmm.
Um, was one of them. There's another. Um, well, yeah, there. I think there's at least three or four that I know of. I
Yeah,
think Piaget is like the big one.
yeah. Piaget, Erickson, and then like Vygotsky, I think his name uh was one other like
Okay.
yeah, child development theorist.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think there was one that I really liked. They had like six stages of development.
Okay. Okay. Was it talking about like the priorities of each like stage?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that might have been Erickson. Because I remember he said like, you know, ages 21 to like 30 were like intimacy was like the most important thing, or like um and then like mid 40s was like, I think that might have been like, oh, you want to put some like work out into the uh world, and then like uh the the like death stage after that, um like the contemplating of death. uh yeah, that's
Yeah.
as far as I
Yeah.
know.
For me, I'm thinking of my legacy um at the moment and like what am I going to leave behind, for my daughter and the world. Um, so
That's awesome.
not so much interested in developing my own career path or you know, finding somebody to be with. It's more like, what can I give back? Uh,
Right, right. Like the wise old man. Excuse me, but but like that's sort of like when I think of like the like you know, Jung was like, you know, you develop an ego when you're younger, and then you sort of like give it up as you when you're older, or something like that. Like it's more I guess like the environment, like giving back might be a good way. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, it kind of reminds me of some of the things that some of the conversations I would have about the ego and um, like the ego's necessary for development and being, you know, being able to act in the world. Um, but it's not the ultimate reality. Uh, so it's, you should think of your ego as a tool rather, and not your master. But I think a lot of people identify with their ego too much. Um, so yeah, so it's more like, yeah, like a tool, I guess, or like, you know, you're like a hand or your arm, like, okay, it's part of you, you use it, but it's not the whole you. There's more
Right,
to you than just your ego.
right, right. And it has the same. It's like it's maybe like you know, good the same way like your hand is good, right? Or it's like that. Yeah, yeah. Man, man, man. Um, okay, can you give me 1 second?
Sure.
Okay.
So I was looking up there was one that I liked, um, the Kohlberg stages of moral development.
Okay.
And so like there's six of them. Stage one is uh, avoiding punishment. Stage two is aiming at reward. Stage three is good boy and good girl attitude. Stage four is loyalty to law and order. Stage five is justice and spirit of the law. And then stage six would be universal principles of ethics.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. That's that's awesome. That's awesome. So was that with relation to like age, or is that just like these are stages of moral development?
Um, yeah, I mean, there are correlations to age. You know, they'll say, you know, so many people at this stage make up, you know, this percentage, you know, so and you know, most people who are at stage one are probably like, you know, little children, toddlers. Um, and then at the later stages, so maybe like uh, loyalty to law and order, that might be, you know, you might be in middle school or something like that. But some adults never go beyond that. You know, there's always a certain adult population that's in the lower stages. You know, it might be like 5% of adults that just don't go beyond that stage.
Okay. Okay. That makes me wonder like where where I am, it definitely makes you think about like that. Like I think I don't know. I'm sort of like universal principles. Like I don't know if like trying to abide by something like the the categorical imperative, like act in such a way where you could do that for like for at least your life and or forever, like act in such a way to the principle by which you act becomes a universal like law, I think it was, or act in such a way, yeah, that how you act would become a
But,
universal law.
well, I think the was it the moral imperative, if I remember correctly, was do the thing that you would want everybody else to be doing. I think it was the way I remember it.
Okay,
Is
okay,
that it?
okay. Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. The golden rule: treat others the way you would like to be treated, or yeah, act is in such a way where you would, yeah, advise everyone to act.
No, it was again.
Oh, hello, hello. No, Surok.